Hello, my name is Mauro Lepore, and today I'm going to show a lesson from the course Tidy Tools by Hadley Wickham. This lesson is Packages and R Code. I'm going to walk through this lesson pretty quickly, simply to give you an overview. A package is a set of conventions that, if you use them right, that make your life much easier. It doesn't necessarily, so you don't need a package only when you think of sharing your code. You may also want to use our packages for your own use, even if you don't think of sharing your code. Our packages are a subset of projects, basically. So if you have been using RStudio projects, you will note that some of the properties that make RStudio projects pretty cool also make our packages pretty cool, because our packages are simply a kind of RStudio project. And why would you ever use an RStudio project in the first place? Well, if you haven't used them before, very quickly you will have here some good reasons to think of using them. First, you can have many RStudio projects opened at the same time. It's very common that you would have different projects on the go, and you may want to switch between one to the other pretty quickly. You can do that. Also, they help you manage your working directory efficiently without the need of setting paths that are only relative to your own computer. Once you create an RStudio project or an R package, you can set paths that are always relative to the root directory that you're working on, with no information whatsoever that relates specifically to your computer. That makes your code much more easy to share and much more, therefore, reproducible. So when you encounter one of these files that define an RStudio project and exists also in our packages created with a package that I'm going to show in a moment called UseThis, with those tools you will have this file called with an extension .rproj, and if you double click in that file, that will open the project and will automatically set the working directory right there. So with RStudio projects and packages, you gain enhanced navigation. For example, there is this very cool keyboard shortcut, Control period, that when you click that, you pop up this little window called Go to File and Function, and there you can start typing the name of any function, any file, or even any object that you have saved in your project, and RStudio will let you jump directly to that place. Similarly, if you are looking for a function, you may type the name of that function on the console or in any file that you have opened, and if you being on the name of the function, you press the key F2, you immediately jump to that function definition. So let's create our first R package. For that, we're going to use the function UseThis create_package, and that we only need to pass simply the path where we want to create that project, and finally the name of the package that we want. So for that, I'm going to use an RStudio local session. I'm going to use the function here, then use this create package, and I'm going to just create it here in my home directory, and I'm going to call this package ABC. Once I do that, automatically we are going to be kind of sent to that project. Here you see in my right hand side the project is called ABC, and this is an R package. It has a bunch of files that UseThis has created for us. I'm going to jump back to the project from which I created this package, and here you can read all that the actions that UseThis has performed to create this package. In short, I think they are summarized here. Yes, so this slide shows everything that happens. It creates this file that defines the package, that defines the project. It's called whatever name of the package we use, extension rproj. It creates an R folder, it creates a description file, and it creates a namespace file, and a few other things that for the moment are not so important. Why bother using a package? Well, it makes your life easy because it provides you with a very easy to follow workflow. You can simply modify your code and load all the code, all the latest changes that you've done with the function DevTools load all. And there is a keyboard shortcut for that. That is Command if you are in Mac, or Control if you are in Windows, plus Shift plus L. That will load the latest changes. You can continue to explore in the console, and whenever you're ready, you can continue to modify your code and re-enter this cycle. So I'm going to show you this in an R package called My Little Pony that Hadley Wickham created for the students that attended his lesson, and that project is an RStudio. I created that as an RStudio.cloud project, and you can have access to that. So you can go to this link, and you can log into a free RStudio.cloud account with any email address, and you will see the same environment that I see here. So here you see that this is simply Chrome. I'm running RStudio from Chrome, from a web browser, but I'm going to press F11 to gain a bit more space, so that doesn't look like I'm on a browser, but I am. So once I'm in this project, let's see what we can do. So I'm going to show you how to jump to a function that lives inside this project that is called rpony, and I'm going to use a keyboard shortcut for that. And then I'm going to load all the functions in that package using, again, a keyboard shortcut, and then I'm going to run rpony 10. Then I'm going to modify the code by adding one pony to a list of ponies, the pony Fluttershy, and then again I'm going to reload the code and verify that the change has worked. So the first task is to jump to a function that is called rpony, and I popped up this window with Control-Shift period. So here I type rpony, and immediately I see the file and the function. So I'm interested in the function, so I'm going to hit enter here, and there it is. I'm going to load all this code, because if I now try to run, or at least if the session, if I started from a fresh R session, if I typed rpony, if I call this function, I will get an error because the code hasn't been loaded. But if I press Shift Control L right now, DevTools will load all these functions, and now I'm ready to run rpony, and that will print a random sample of the list of phonies that you can see right here. So now let's add Fluttershy to this list. Let's do that. So I'm going to add her right here. And again, if I download the code, the function rpony will print what it printed before. I need to load all the functions to update the changes. Also notice that the file hasn't been saved yet, but I don't need to bother even clicking here in save. What I can do is simply again press Shift Control L. I will be kind of reminded that the file hasn't been saved. I can hit enter to save the file, load all the functions, and now yes, I can in the console run rpony, and Fluttershy is there. So the change has worked. So what if you need to create a new file? Well, use this provides the function useR that helps you use this. useR helps you create a file just by passing a name of the file, and as you see, the file has been created, opened, and appears now inside my R folder. So here I'm going to create a new function that is going to be I'm going to call show pony, and this function is simply going to sort the ponies, the function rpony. So I'm going to click Shift Control L, save, load all at the same time. So now if in the console I run the function again, now this is sorted. I'm going to pass our pony. Sorry, I'm actually running the wrong function here. Show our pony. Show pony. There we go. I'm going to now call it with more. Oops, there we go. And there we go. We can see that now this function, instead of printing the ponies in random order, it prints them in sorted order. Let's continue with the lesson. And let's focus on RStudio setup. So there is a bunch of things that developers use a lot, a bunch of packages that developers use a lot, including DevTools. Use these and test that. So if you find yourself using these packages a lot, you may just want to include them if you're in your R profile file. And you can do that simply by running, I'm going to show you that in my local session here, simply by running this function. Use this edit R profile, will open an R profile, and here you can paste code that will be run every time you restart your R session. Here you can see that I already followed Hadley's recommendation and included those lines, and also Hadley recommends adding these few other lines to make your functions more safer to use. But remember to not include packages that you use for data analysis. Only include packages that you use for building packages. Those packages that you use for data analysis are important to include in the code that is visible by you and by the user. Otherwise, you won't know where the functions come from. So these are the options, additional options I already showed you. And finally, before we finish discussing RStudio setup, it is very important to go to Tools, Global Options, and check this box here and set this option to Never. That will make R to not remember the workspace that comes from older versions, which if you leave it as that, if you do let that happen, then your current session will be contaminated with stuff that you did in previous sessions, and that's not a very good idea. So I can show you where that is, as here in Tools, Global Options, you go here to R, and you make sure that this box is unchecked and that this is set to Never. So that's all you need to do. So go ahead with that slide. You can do what I just showed you, and that's the end of the lesson. So this lesson again was developed by Hadley Wickham and RStudio, and it's okay to share. Thank you very much for joining me.